FCT minister in trouble as Ogoni diaspora gives Wike ultimatum over alleged oil-impacted communities, $300 million fund diversion. Hello viewers and welcome to InfoGist TV. The Greater Ogoni Diaspora Organization has asked the former governor of Rivers State and the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, to explain the circumstances behind the alleged diversion of $300 million released by the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation Limited for oil-impacted communities in Ogoni land. In an open letter, a copy of which was available to South Punch, Godo said that he was expressing its deep concern and demanded an explanation regarding the alleged diversion of $300 million released by NNPCL for the development of oil-impacted communities in Ogoni during Wike's tenure as the governor of Rivers State. In the letter dated August 6, titled Redemand for Explanation on Alleged Diversion of $300 million released by NNPCL for oil-impacted communities in Ogoni and signed by Chief Ambrose Key in its behalf, Godo State. This allegation has been brought to our attention and we expect a comprehensive response from you within 21 days. Insisting that the Ogoni people had suffered tremendously due to the environmental degradation, genocide, neglect, and marginalization, Godo said. The release of the funds by NNPCL was a welcome development intended to address an aspect of the developmental needs of our community. However, the alleged diversion of these funds is unacceptable and has further exacerbated the suffering of our people, reminding us about the worst experience of the government. We remain deeply scared and are still grappling with the sacrifices made by our heroes and heroines, including Ken Saruwiwa and many other Ogonis who fought tirelessly for environmental justice. The fact that another injustice has been perpetrated against us is a bitter pill to swallow. We can't help but ask, how long will we continue to suffer at the hands of Nigerian governments? The memory of our heroes and heroines cannot be allowed to fade in vain. The alleged theft of funds meant to address the very issues they fought for is a betrayal of their legacy and a slap in the face of their sacrifices. Insisting that the struggles and sacrifices of Ogoni heroes paved the way for the release of these funds, Godo lamented. It is an insult to the memory and a slap in the face of the Ogoni people for these funds to be allegedly diverted. We will not stand idly by while the sacrifices of our people are disrespected in this manner. We have heard from those alleging the diversion of funds, and we must hear from you. Your silence on this matter will be deemed as acceptance of the allegations and will be forced to take further actions. Areas where Godo said expected detailed explanations from the minister includes confirmation or otherwise of the receipt of $300 million by the Rivers State government, a breakdown of how the funds were utilized, evidence of projects executed by the funds, and the names of contractors and companies involved in the project, if any. The letter further stated, failure to address the Ogoni people and provide satisfactory explanation within the stipulated time frame will leave us with no other choice but to take the following actions: drag you to court to seek justice and accountability, report the matter to anti-graft agencies such as the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission for investigation and prosecution, petition various embassies and intentional organizations, including the United Nations, to highlight the plight of the Ogoni people and the alleged misuse of funds meant for their development, and mobilize the Ogoni people and other stakeholders to demand justice and accountability. Now, in a swift move to counter the situation, we want to make it abundantly clear that any kobo released from the development of our community will not be diverted by any individual group and go scot-free. We will not stand idly by while our community resources are plundered and misused. We will fight lawfully and tirelessly using every avenue available to us to ensure that justice is served and the Ogoni people receive the resources they rightfully deserve. We will mobilize our people and engage with stakeholders and collaborate with anti-corruption agencies to prevent any diversion or misappropriation of funds. We will also utilize legal and diplomatic channels to seek redress and compensation for any diverted funds. Our community has suffered for too long and we will not allow any further betrayal of our trust. We demand transparency and accountability and justice, and we will not rest until these demands are met. It insisted that the memory of Saruwiwa and other Ogoni matters demands justice, adding that they will not rest until justice is served. The federal government has said it will connect the entire Ogoni land in Rivers State to the national grid, even as it decries the slow pace of the cleanup of all polluted sites there. The Minister of Environment, Mohammed Abdullahi, disclosed this during a town hall meeting with Ogoni stakeholders, including monarchs, local government chairmen, and youth in Thai local government area on Thursday. Abdullahi said connecting Ogoni to the national grid was part of efforts to expand the objectives of the hydrocarbon pollution remediation project. The move, he said, was imperative in order to supply power to all the water infrastructures built by Hyprep in Ogoni land, as well as for economic growth and sustainability in the area. Apart from the remediation that is being done by Hyprep, there is also a water project that we are working on. We realize that for the water project to be sustainable, there must be an enduring power supply. So the federal government is expanding the objectives of the project mandate of Hyprep to ensure that the entire Ogoni land is linked to the national grid. So this electricity project will power the water project around Ogoni land and also power small-scale industries so that cottage industries can flourish for employment of young people, the minister stated. Responding on behalf of the people, the chairman of the Supreme Council of Ogoni Traditional Rulers, His Royal Majesty Godwin Giniwa, expressed optimism that the new minister would implement the UNEP report in line with the intentional and international specifications. Meanwhile, there was a temporary standstill at the popular Rumuwoji Maiwan Market axis of Ikwere Road, Diobu, Port Harcourt on Tuesday as traders and business owners and other residents halted their activities to show solidarity with the End Bad Governance protesters. The mammoth crowd of protesters had marched in front of my 3 axis of Ikwere Road and we are heading towards the government house at Nnamdi Azikiwe Road. They also took part in the protest to the railway market Maiwan near the Abale Park axis of Diobu, Port Harcourt. As the protesters got to Amici bus stop and Rumuwoji Maiwan Market, many traders and shop owners temporarily abandoned their wares and shops and rushed out to hail and chant along with them in solidarity. The federal government yesterday warned foreign countries to stay clear of the nation's internal affairs. The warning came against the backdrop of foreign flags being flown during the ongoing protest against hardship in the country, especially in some northern states including Kano, Kaduna and Zamfara, and the arrest of some foreigners as sponsors of the protests. This came as the protest, which had thawed in most states where it was held, continued in Port Harcourt, River State yesterday, as protesters and some journalists were attacked by thugs who infiltrated the protests. The Nigerian army has also detained the soldier who fired the shot that killed a 16-year-old boy in Zaria, Kaduna State, on Tuesday evening, saying he was being investigated. Also, the Plateau and Bauchi governments, which imposed a curfew in the heat of the protests earlier in the week, have relaxed it as normalcy returned to the 2 states yesterday. The Minister of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Yusuf Tuga, who gave the warning while briefing members of the diplomatic corps in Abuja, however, highlighted the importance of cordial international relationships. Recall that the protests, which gained momentum in major cities such as Lagos, Benin, Osun, Oyo, Kano, Gombe, Yobe, Borno, Niger, Kebbi, Abuja, and other northern towns, was marked by violence and that at least 6 Spaniards were arrested in Kano in connection with the protests. The minister appealed for continued collaboration from the international community to support Nigerians' effort in overcoming its current challenges and achieving a better future for all Nigerians. He warned while the government continues to work hard through various reform programs and measures to address challenges facing Nigeria and Nigerians, it is pertinent to remind us that no nation tolerates foreign interference in its domestic affairs and that of its citizens. Nigeria is not an exception. The government will take appropriate actions against any foreign entity residing in Nigeria that is found to have directly or indirectly supported the protesters by whatever means or seeks to interfere in the internal affairs of the country. Nigeria cherishes and continues to value the cordial relationship that happily subsists between her and your countries and organizations, and will not do anything to undermine or take for granted such relationship.